I think we got the best fans in the league. The Arrowhead carries the torch for being the best fans in the league. Some of the loudest ones and the most fun ones. So
The atmosphere, the fan base, the support groups had an impact on our season.
This fan base is dialed in.
Like I'm gassing you guys up and gassing up the state of Utah, but it's the truth. You guys have one of the best fan supporter groups.
I'm going home to play for my hometown team. Looking back to when I was 10 years old, that's every kid's dream.
Welcome to another episode of the Arrowheads podcast. We are your official podcast, the official supporter group of the Archers Lacrosse Club. And boy, has it been a while since we recorded. I think between the holidays and work and family, it's been really tough for us to get on. And you'll see Brady and Toaster both working today as we're recording. So we've got, two of our faithful, Jackson and JB, back with us today recording this episode. Welcome, guys.
Hey, thanks for having us.
Yeah, you're stuck with us again.
Hey, it's good people to be stuck with, It's like if you're going to be stuck with somebody on a desert island, they definitely pick you too. So it's great. So we'd have a lot of good lacrosse conversation while stuck on that desert island.
Absolutely.
So had to record this episode today. This is, January, 15th. PLL schedule dropped yesterday. First time ever there's going to be games in May, like early May, running all the way through into the fall. Extended season, and then the biggest news for us as Archers fans is Utah, for the first time ever, is the opening weekend. Our homecoming games are the opening weekend. So, guys, give me your thoughts when you saw the schedule yesterday. What were your kind of takeaways from that?
I think it's definitely, definitely a shift in thinking. Obviously, moving the season earlier into the year means that it's really kind of eliminating a lot of different venues, a lot of the college venues from hosting training camp and the opener, because usually that kind of leads into the opener. So I think the bank is a perfect spot to open the year. There's tons of fields everywhere, and obviously they use it during the bubble season, so it can accommodate everybody. So really, really, really excited to start the year off, obviously with the best fans in the sport. So. Super pumped.
And my first impressions, shocked. Obviously, at first, I never even considered that Albany wouldn't be opening weekend. And if it wasn't, I never would have thought Utah would be. So that's really exciting. I was very excited to see that Maryland's homecoming, since I live on the East Coast, is no longer at Johns Hopkins. No offense to Johns Hopkins, but it's just tough to get there. It's tough to park. It was really, really hot every time I was there. It's earlier in the year now when they're in Maryland, and it's at a different stadium. So I'm interested in checking out Loyola. Same with New York, playing at Hofstra. We've been there for playoff games before, but it'll be cool to see that as their home field. The bad part, my first impression was, oh no, May. What if we don't have Connor Fields or Brett Dobson because they're in the playoffs for the Swarm and the Nighthawks? But we'll get to that later. Those are just my first thoughts.
Yeah, love that. We got some fan responses on Instagram when we posted it. A couple guys, Jason Flinders said he was very stoked to get the team this early. Hopefully we can get a couple more wins this year, which is awesome. All this time, it'd be great to see pick up some wins early in the season in front of home fans. And Beck Marsh had an interesting point. He said anything with more games is great, but it would definitely expose an old injury-prone roster, which definitely, as you look at struggled with injuries last year for sure. Does more games just put us at jeopardy of that? So we can talk about that in a little bit. Scott from the Stampede just said, congrats on opening the season. Like you said, they've traditionally had that. So passing the torch over to us, I guess, they're trading a championship for opening weekend. So we'll happily trade that back to you guys next year, Scott. So we'll pick up on the championship and you can have it next year. So, and then Piper Bonds texted us and said, opening weekend in Utah couldn't make us more excited going into the season, especially after not having a great performance at the end of the year out there last season. The snow-capped mountains in the background on TV are going to be pretty cool. Going to be a pretty cool touch too. So it seems like the players are pretty stoked to be out here early on.
I hadn't considered snow at all, so
I didn't.
That's going to be exciting.
Any traveling fans who come in to watch thinking May, it'll be nice, springtime weather. Spring in Utah can be hit and miss. So we have had lacrosse games in May in the snow. So do check the weather before you come in May. Make sure you dress appropriately. But let's talk about a couple of things. Obviously, it's so exciting you're here. I'd heard rumors that we were going to be early on in the season. I was really hoping for that opening weekend. with the extended season, I mean, it makes sense, right? The PLL has to extend the season. We got to get more games. I think I'd asked Ryan Amber about it earlier on when they talked about extending the season. He was like, "Yeah, it's great because you can get into a rhythm. You know, you lose one or two games, and all of a sudden you're screwed, right? And so now it's a chance you can get into runs and turn things around if you're on a bad patch, and it gives it a little more time in the season. I think, and in general, just for the PLL to be more not legitimate, I guess, but to be able to have more of a stronger base, to be able to have more games in a longer season, it definitely was needed. JB, you and I were talking a little bit beforehand. You touched on NLL, so definitely some questions there, right? So Jackson, you said you got the big board up of like who could potentially be missing from those opening games. What's that looking like?
Yeah, so obviously we've got Fields on the Nighthawks. They're having a great year this year. Obviously Dauber, like in the field game, he's one of the best goalies in the league in the box game. So he's going to backpack that Swarm team. Um, and then really outside of that, we have Trey LeClaire. I think Mac O'Keefe's rights are still owned by the Seals. It doesn't look like he will be playing for them anytime soon. But really, other than I mean, like Hasek in Halifax, that's a whole different story. I mean, uh, you know, questions about him even playing for us next year, unfortunately. And then Warren in Colorado, but really, I mean, obviously we've got the short stick D mid trio. None of them play, so we'll have them ready to go. I mean, fan favorite Nick Washuta wouldn't be the worst thing to see. You know, aliens got the death beam pointed at the Earth. I want Nick Washuta. But most of the offense should be ready to go. Sam King doesn't play. Matt Moore, who I recently heard had successful hip surgery. Really, really excited to have him back next year. And then Schreiber getting some time off is going to be great. So should have him back at 100% ready to go. The rest of the midfield. So hopefully, we just get going and get clicking. I think we just never got it together. I mean, we did not play one game last year with our preseason best projected 19-man roster. I mean, simple fact of Trey missed the first half, Sis missed the second half. I mean, there were probably 7 or 8 games where we were missing 3+ from that best projected 19-man. So really just going to hope to avoid injuries and hope to avoid any kind of overlap with the NLL. Obviously, we want our guys to succeed in everything they do, but wouldn't be the worst thing in the world if they got knocked out early.
If we start seeing double lane goals in the NLL, we know where his heart really lies. So Double, if you're listening, you know what you got to do. But yeah, JB and I were just talking before this. Like, is there a chance that the PLL and the NLL can work together and talk about schedules and not overlapping and allow people to do both? I know there's a risk there for injuries and other things, but you can't think a guy like Brett Dobson's going to say, "Man, I'm going to pass up the chance to go play in Utah." He's so passionate about it and passionate about being here. And like Piper said, the team's ready to come back out and show us some wins, right? Again. And so you can't believe he doesn't want to be part of that.
Yeah, that's the important thing too. We can't go 0-2 to start the year. I mean, I know a lot of the players said in that 2024 season, obviously the doubleheader at home to end the season on 2 wins, even with Schreiber's injury. I think a lot of the guys have said, hey, that homecoming weekend really propelled us through the playoffs, really gave us a lot of momentum. So unfortunately, we're not going to have that this year. So it's going to be super, super important that we get at least 1, hopefully 2 wins at home.
Yeah, 100%. JB, what's your thoughts on the overlaps here?
Yeah, I mean, just to add on Jackson, also Dyson Williams, and you said Mike Sis. Mike's on the Nighthawks. He's not playing right now. I don't know if he's going to. He joined them halfway through the year last year, which I loved because that gives him reps right before the PLL season starts. And Dyson Williams obviously playing attack for us too. The more guys we can have week 1, the better. Like he said, we don't want to root against those guys. I'm a Nighthawks fan because of Connor Fields and Mike Sis. I just went down to Philly last weekend to watch them beat up on the Wings. That was awesome. But that team looks so good. I could see him making a long playoff run. And if we don't have Fields for our first 2 to 3 games, that could be pretty brutal. But again, we have the depth on the offense that there's enough guys when healthy that we should still be able to make it through. I'm a little worried about our defense if we don't draft a pole or acquire one. Especially if we lose Hasek. I know Warren Jeffrey. I don't know if he's still under contract, if he's going to come around and play again, but um, the guys we do have are young studs. So just need to fill a few holes and get back at it.
Yeah, we haven't seen much activity in the way of signings or trades or anything going on, which is probably makes sense based on the fact that the teams that are doing it are looking at Champ Series, and obviously we're not going to be there.
Right.
I think for those of us who live with a little bit of anxiety, it'd be nice to see some people locked up and know a little bit more what's going on. But also makes you wonder how much of this was like, let's figure out what we know when we know it and what we need when, we have a plan. So definitely interested in that. It'll also be interesting to see NCAA, right? I mean, we're overlapping the season, which I don't think is a problem. Like JB, and I are talking, right? The people are questioning that. Well, in football, NFL and college run concurrently. And in basketball, NBA and college run concurrently. It's okay. I think what the question then becomes, certainly for an Archers fan, is we have the number one pick this year. When does that number one pick get to happen? And when does that number one pick get to play? Is there a chance they change the draft? What do you guys think on that?
Yeah, I think the draft is traditionally held the weekend that we're going to open. So obviously it's going to have to be moved up earlier, which moves it even further into college lacrosse season. I mean, obviously you always run the risk of injury, but we're pushing it back more into the middle of the season, more chance for that guy to get hurt. Obviously, a number one pick is traditionally going to come from a good team, a team that going to make championship weekend, Memorial Day weekend. I mean, we're talking about having 3 games between then and when they can come join the team. So, does it make a guy like Mikey Weishar a little bit more attractive? Probably. Obviously the Syracuse Orange have high hopes. Is Polina our guy? Maybe. So it's going to be, and how much does that really make a decision? Or how much are we really willing to trade 3 games this one season? Do we take somebody that misses the tournament just because they're going to be available versus taking a guy that's going to play for us for 10 years down the road? Maybe he misses his first 3 games and then we get him the rest of the way.
Do we even keep the pick? Do we want the number one pick? It's
Would not be opposed at all to trade back. I mean, I
I
think
mean,
the biggest need on. Good.
Bates will wheel and deal. He'll surprise people on draft day. He's done it in the past.
You'd know that.
Just gonna sit back and make some popcorn and let him do his thing.
JB, we all know it's going to get traded if they invite you out to announce the number one pick. We know they're going to trade it away.
Too soon.
Talk to me about the rest of the season, guys. Like, you guys travel around. Like, what other games you guys have flagged on the schedule to attend? And then what games you're looking at like that was a surprise to see?
Go, JB.
Well, week 1, Salt Lake City, we have to be there, right? Like I had mentioned before, I live out east, so they go to Rhode Island for week 2, but historically, after your homecoming game, you have a bye. I don't know if the Archers will have a bye week 2, but I would expect them to. I probably wouldn't drive to Rhode Island, I don't know, 4 hours for me just to watch all the other teams play. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. Maryland's close. That's week 3. Carolina's week 4. That's Jackson's home. So I'd love to fly down. He flew up to Philly to visit me last year. I'd love to fly to Carolina this year and see him. And then Long Island's also drivable, and that's week 5. From there, it kind of gets really spread out. And the last game that's close for me is Philly, which is the final week of the year. So I'll probably be at all of those, and then a lull in the middle.
Yeah. Like JB said, I'm down in the Carolinas, so I always like to make Charlotte. American Legion to me feels like the bank. It's super intimate. You're kind of on top of the action. Very similar size stadiums. So I love going there. Love the Red Legion guys. I mean, Michael and Josh and all the rest of the team, the Reaper. Those guys are awesome. So I love seeing them. And the same thing with the Denver guys. As much as we don't like the Outlaws, the Rough Riders are, just class acts. So I may try and sneak out there and hang out with them. I'm predicting that we play them in Denver. I mean, we've had them in Utah the last 2 years. I don't know who they're going to pick to boo on our team. Maybe Schreiber. I hope it goes as well as Booing O'Neill has gone recently. So I'm gonna try and make it out there for that, and then I'm gonna try and sneak back up and see CJB in Philly. The WL Championship game is gonna be that weekend. I think that's gonna be really really awesome. So definitely kind of a twofold reason to get out there for that.
100%. I
Philly this
think
year, they've been playing at Villanova, which is not, it's very similar to how I said about Hopkins. It's hard to get to, it's hard to park, traffic's terrible. Now they're back at Subaru Park, I think that's what it's still called, where the
Mhm.
Philadelphia Union play with the WLL championship. That's going to be a fantastic weekend. Can't wait for that.
yeah, I love that that's being combined and put in this year. Like, huge for women's and girls lacrosse. Like to start building that league and putting it in conjunction. I absolutely love that. I'm with you, Jackson. If we play in Denver, which I think there's a really good chance we do, 100%. I'm packing up the car or hopping on the flight. I got a kid that's coming back from his mission that will be back at that point in time. Hasn't seen a lacrosse game in several years. I'm like, dude, we are going to Denver, and we
Absolutely.
will boo Brennan O'Neill if you're listening. We will boo you there, and we'll be loud
Yes.
about it, and we'll make sure you know
Yes.
that there's
I'll
arrowheads
boo you
there.
from the Rough Rider section. I don't care.
Exactly. We'll make sure we're loud and proud. One thing we didn't talk about, obviously, is then the semifinals. They come right
Huge.
back to Salt Lake City, which is
Love
huge.
that.
So I know some of the players listen, boys, we got your back. Just make sure you're
Yes.
there. Like
Yes.
that, how
Get
epic would
there
that
and we
be
will
to
get you through.
right?
Just got to get there. Please
How
get there.
like I mean, we know how we show out in Utah, and if the Archers can be there for like a Saturday night lacrosse game semifinals, like how amazing will that stadium will be packed. It'll all be as much as we mostly have orange and blues, and there's the occasional spattering of an O'Neill jersey. You better believe it's all going to be orange and blue that night. Like it will
Yes.
be absolutely insane.
I did look into it a little closer because it's my birthday weekend, and what better way to spend your birthday than watching the Archers in Utah when a win takes them to the championship. So it will be on Monday, which is Labor Day. Even better because everybody has off. So all
Yep.
those locals in Utah can come on down. I don't obviously know times, but that'll be really exciting, and I
Yeah.
can't wait.
We'll all sing happy birthday to you, JB. How about that?
The whole stadium.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we'll
I'm
make it
ready.
happen. So no, I think it's super exciting they're bringing them back. I think we had some semifinals here um back in the day. Like I think it was when Will Manny and those guys were still on the Archers, and I think they had either quarterfinal or semifinal game here, and it's probably a semifinal game, and it was like a home stadium for those guys, and they end up losing in the semifinals, but it was an amazing atmosphere, and so they can do that again. Yeah, I think we'll deliver. So just make sure the team's there.
Yeah, it
So
was so tough back then before Utah claimed the Archers as their own. It's like
yeah,
you love Will Manning, obviously, but you don't really everybody's kind of cheering. The stadium looks a lot more like a Crayola box with all the different colors.
yeah.
Now it's just blue and orange, which is great.
For sure, for sure. Yeah, back in the day when they were playing there, it was I think Will Manny, Marcus Holman, and Adam Gittelman were on the team, and they were all living in Utah, all coaching at the U. And it was just like, yeah, those were that was the home team at that point. So, it was great to see that, and so yeah, super excited they come back. Um,
We'll have to flip the home team. The record for home playoff teams is not good. I think it might be 1-3 or 1-4. It's really really bad. So we'll have to turn the tables on that one. But if there's anywhere that can do it, it's Utah.
yeah, and Matty Palin, if you're listening, because I know it seemed like you were against us last year. Get our boys back, whatever you need to do, get us back to for a win in Salt Lake in September. So
Yeah.
that'd be everything. So yeah, make it happen, PLL. So that if that needs to, if this is some player swan songs, like let's go out in style. So um, other thoughts, guys? Any other lingering thoughts on the schedule?
One thing that really jumped out for me, I think we've said a lot of positives because I don't want to start off with negative stuff. I don't want to take away from anything the league's doing. The expansion to 12 games is great. You're up against a lot. A young league. It's still a young league. Little logistical things that I really hope to see moving forward. While Utah gets opening weekend and it's super exciting, and I can't wait to start the season there and hopefully start 2-0. I do think it's kind of one of the downsides is a team having a bye week one. I don't think any team should be off before the season starts. A bye during the season is something the players also look forward to rest a little bit. So I think future seasons, I'm hoping that they can get a neutral site for week one. It is also tough. Jackson told me this when we talked about it yesterday. He said you also have to consider that you need a place that can host a training camp, and college is in session, so we can't do it there. So it is tough, and I get that. Um, I also think that buys for the teams, you should never have a buy when one of your conference opponents is the homecoming team. So like Denver having a bye in San Diego last year and having a bye in Denver the year before, that might be reversed. That should never happen. If I'm gonna be a Denver fan, the Utah Archers should be playing in Denver at some point during the weekend, even if it's not against me. Same with San Diego, same with Carolina when the Archers go there. Other than that, I think the schedule's great. I love some of the new spots. I think it's exciting that they're expanding, and 12 games is good. Couple extra game checks for the players, which is well deserved. And the more we can grow, the better.
Yeah, one thing we noticed, Toast and I were texting about this. The dates for Utah are the 8th, 9th, and 10th. Every weekend is a 3-day. So it makes you wonder if they're going to make more games happen. And it seems like because there's gaps in the schedule.
Yeah.
And so maybe it's like, hey, everybody's gonna play every weekend, and then we're gonna have an off week. So
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they kind of juggle the WLL games as well.
mhm.
I personally like the 3-day weekend. It makes it a little harder to travel, but you also start to get guys not playing back to backs. I mean, obviously we kind of drew the short straw last year having to play, the Outlaws on, what, 18 hours rest, maybe
Yep.
less, with no Ament, no Schreiber. I mean, it was just kind of a cacophony of just bad luck. And so maybe, I could see it being, Friday men, Saturday women, and then Sunday men again. That gives you a whole day off in the middle.
Mhm.
I also like the prospect. I don't think we'll have a bye week two. Usually on a neutral site, they bring everybody. I like the prospect of having that bye in Baltimore. I know it's hot there. It's just a tough time to play. It's hot everywhere, but it's I've always heard that it's really, really hot in Baltimore then. And that would also just, for me, that would not have them have a bye in Carolina, which, like JB said, they've had the other two conferences buys last year. Mike Rabel will be hearing from me if they're on a bye in Carolina this year. Because I've got a group, the Blue Ridge Bowmen, I think we're going to call ourselves. I've got a
Nice.
group ready to roll. So if the Archers aren't there, it's going to be really tough.
Yeah.
But I like the rest of the season. It's a lot of travel at the end, but everybody's got to do it. Um, I love the neutral sites. I know Chicago went super well last year. Fairfield's always a great one. That's my birthday weekend, so I may have to go just to go. And then Rhode Island and Columbus, I think are two great markets. So I think they're doing the locations. I think are great. We'll just kind of have to see where the cookie crumbles. I've heard it's going to be later this month. We'll get an actual, hey, we're playing, the Redwoods and the Chaos in
Mhm.
Utah. So I hope that comes out towards the end of the month so we can start kind of looking at flights and everything. But super, super excited for the year. I haven't looked to see like who is going to be, the most impacted by NLL, and obviously we haven't seen any college across yet, so there's no real big board of okay, hey, we might draft Spalina this year. He's probably going to be out for a month, so a lot of stuff still to be determined, but really, really optimistic for this year, and love the schedule so far.
Yeah, me too. I'd love to see what this 3-day weekend looks like. I mean, is it like one game on a Friday night, two games on a Friday night, two on a Saturday? I think if you did one game on a Friday night, like a late game, two on a Saturday, two on a Sunday, it'd be super interesting if you get everybody to play. So
Yeah.
make two teams play twice. So it'd be super interesting. So anyway, lots more to come on that. But yeah, appreciate you guys hopping on tonight. It was
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having
impromptu
me.
as this dropped yesterday, and I appreciate you guys jumping in and doing it. Always great to chat with you and connect with our, top fans and members of the Arrowhead across the country. Yeah, and then look out for news coming this season. As soon as that schedule drops in terms of who we're playing when, I think we're gonna have some stuff coming out. People coming to Utah, players hopefully coming to Utah before the games come. Lots of stuff happening. Lots of stuff to start planning for that weekend. Chief, if you're listening, get ready. You're going to get a phone call from me about tailgates and all
Yes,
sorts
sir.
of stuff to do. But yeah, lots of good things and super excited we get to kick the season off. And so I told Mike Rabel this. I'm like, we're going to kick it off and set the bar high. And everything else after that's going to go downhill till the team comes back here in September. So
Yeah.
we're going to do it right. And yeah, with that, JB, any final thoughts? You want to take us out?
We will see you in person in less than 4 months.
That's insane.
It's
Less than
crazy.
4
We're on
months.
we're on the clock as much as the team is. The Arrowhead is on the clock just as much as Coach Bates. So we're getting ready. We're gonna start it off with a bang.
2026 is our year. We're gonna make it happen. All right, and with that, everybody, appreciate you tuning in, and we'll be back with more episodes here soon. And yeah, stay tuned for more stuff coming from the Arrowhead. And with that, we're out. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you.
This podcast is not affiliated with the Premier Lacrosse League or Archers Lacrosse Club. This is an independent, fan-run podcast.
The arrowhead, we aim, we fly through the chaos, gun in the sky. Hit the mark, we never miss. Lacrosse is live and it starts with this.